right, what is going on, Patriots Nation? This is Jason Cole back with the Patriots Drive podcast, and today have kind of an interesting, touchy subject right here. Mike Florio has been reporting that Bill Belichick has been shopping quarterback Mac Jones in the 2023 offseason to teams like the Bucs, the Raiders, some of those quarterback needy teams. Sounds like there's a little bit of pushback saying that none of those teams actually got reached out to. So there's a little bit of a circling discussion on what to have here. But we kind of wanted to bring you a video of what we thought about this trade because there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of opinions. So let's just hop right into it. Cole, what were your initial reactions when you heard about the Patriots possibly shopping Mac Jones?
I was a little surprised, and I was kind of trying to gather my own opinion on if this really made sense. And at the end of the day, I kind of came to the conclusion that, in my eyes, this makes no sense for the Patriots. I just, which I know you're going to touch on in a second about the whole Lamar Jackson situation. The only way it makes sense is if you're upgrading at quarterback. Robert Kraft has pounded the table that we've had losing seasons 2 out of the last 3 years. Winning a playoff game is very vital and important. At least making the playoffs this year is huge for him. And I don't think Belichick can afford to trade Mac Jones and then have no backup plan, play Bailey Zappi or who knows who. You got to have an upgrade if you're going to trade Mac Jones. And I just don't think there's a viable upgrade out there that Belichick is willing to do. We all love Lamar Jackson. We all know how transcendent of a player he can be. We know his injury history. We know he's had ups and downs. But overall, I have a hard time believing that Belichick is going to give a player at that quarterback position, especially with question marks, that much guaranteed money when he wouldn't even pay Tom Brady. So I think having Mac Jones for the money we have him at, you surrounded him with an offensive coordinator that he's worked with before in the offseason. He likes him. The system fits him well. I think you just got to surround Mac with talent and let him go this year. I know Belichick and Mac had their ups and downs this past season, but you got to get over it and you got to start fresh and move on because otherwise it's going to be another losing season.
Yeah, and that's the one thing from the report that I really don't doubt is that there's maybe some feathers ruffled between Mac and Belichick. I don't blame him. Why shouldn't Mac Jones be mad at him for giving him a defensive coordinator as his OC and a special teams coordinator as his quarterback coach? There was no trust, no continuity within the offense. And so, yeah, he might have been calling Alabama guys. Well, what does New England do? They go out and they hire Alabama's offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, who has a great track record, not only with the Patriots, but in the NFL, calling plays at Alabama. They go out, they get Mike Gesicki, who was originally recruited to Penn State when Bill O'Brien was the head coach. So they bring in that tie there, a pass catching guy, not to mention just like a tight end that's, so at catching and can block. No, like this is a pass catching threat. And then they bring in Juju Smith-Schuster, who's an upgrade from Jacoby Myers. And now there's talks that they're bringing in Jordan Addison, and they've talked to Jackson Smith and Njigba as possibly the 14th overall pick. So there's a lot of things to be looking at and saying, are we really going to give Lamar Jackson $40 million guaranteed like he's wanting to with all these upgrades? I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. And I don't even know what you could get out of Mac. You're not getting a first rounder out of him. A second, maybe. I still don't even know if a team would pay up for that. So I don't buy it. I think that there's a lot of people coming out now saying that they've talked to the Raiders, the Buccaneers, teams like that, and they have not been reached out to by the Patriots. And I seem to believe, I seem to side with you on that, where it just doesn't make sense to move off of a third-year quarterback who had a Pro Bowl style first year, led you to the playoffs as a rookie, and then saw a dramatic decrease in the coaching on the offensive side of the ball. And now you're already going to move on from it. It doesn't make sense to me. And I get it. The AFC East is going to be really competitive if Rodgers goes to the Jets, which it sounds like he's going to. The AFC in general is competitive. But I don't think right now the best thing to do is move on from Mac Jones. If you surround him with the weapons and he doesn't perform this year, then you can talk about it next year. I mean, there's going to be another good group of quarterbacks coming out. If you miss the playoffs again, you can trade up, you can go sign a guy or trade for one. But I don't think this is the year that you hit the complete panic button and you sell on a rookie quarterback who has potential. You just haven't seen it yet. You got to give him a chance.
Yeah, I don't think judging him based off last season is a fair judgment. If you're going to move on from him based off last season, Belichick, in that case, should be moved on from because of the decision he made to, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Off 1 year, especially with Mac, who has had a good rookie year, and then with this year was a disaster for everyone. And I am pretty fed up with Belichick in this aspect. He has zero right to be holding a grudge over Mac Jones' head and being pissed off at Mac for trying to seek help to win football games. If you don't want him to seek outside coaching, get him a real offensive coordinator to coach the offense for him, not a defensive coordinator who has no idea what he's doing, and everybody on the offense and everybody in the world knows it. Put him in a position to succeed. And I don't know. It feels like Belichick is pushing the blame on other people and trying to hold it over other people's head for what happened last year, when in all reality, he said at the beginning of the year, if this doesn't work, it's on me. I put Matt Patricia in that position, which he did, and it was a horrible idea. And everybody knew it ahead of time. He did it anyways, and it was a disaster. It's just this whole offense was a disaster all season last year. There's leaks coming out from within the organization. There's ruffled feathers. There's tension within the locker room of different guys. It's just, I don't know. It's a whole mess right now. I haven't been this down on Belichick ever in his entire career and in my entire lifetime. I don't know what the heck is going on at this point. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Real quick, guys, we'd like to thank today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog's NFL Pick'em, they make it super easy to win big on any given night. They have individual player props or daily fantasy and are legal in 41 of the 50 states. Right now, they are doubling your first deposit up to $100 when you use code PATSDRIVE or use the link in the description. All you have to do is select higher or lower and submit your wager for as low as $1 to win anywhere from 3 times to 20 times your money. You can also compete against thousands in Underdog Fantasy's daily fantasy tournaments ranging anywhere from football to baseball to basketball. Whatever sport it is, there's a tournament for you. Now with Underdog's Pick'em Insurance, you can still win money even if one of your picks does not hit. So head over to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog app. Make sure to use code PATCHDRIVE or use the link in our description to get started today. Yeah, and the argument with, and I don't know what it was with Robert Kraft bringing up the tweet or talking about Meek Mill, wanting Lamar Jackson, and then him. I don't know if he's trying to push Bill Belichick to sign him. I saw a report that said maybe that's Robert Kraft's way of saying, I'm willing to spend the money if you want him. Who knows what it is? For me, Lamar Jackson is a generational talent. But if you guys have watched the Baltimore Ravens, it is a boring style of offense, and it only works. It only works if you have the right personnel. And I don't think New England has that right personnel. They run 3 tight ends. They have a big fullback, Patrick or Ricard. We moved on from a fullback a couple years ago. We don't have that in our offense. Yeah, he can throw the ball, but he's never been surrounded with weapons either, because that's just not the style of quarterback he is. And then talking about the last 2 seasons, he hasn't played the last 6 weeks of the season because of injury and missed both of the playoffs. So yeah, I love Lamar Jackson. He would be so fun in New England, but is it really worth paying him and giving up either the 2 first-round picks because you sign him or you trade for him to pay him $40 million like you see with Deshaun Watson and move on from a rookie quarterback on his salary? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think it's to that point. I have a lot of faith in Mac, and yeah, he's never going to be as mobile as Lamar Jackson, but I don't think Lamar Jackson brings this team a Super Bowl either. We're still so far away from a Super Bowl with or without Lamar Jackson that give Mac Jones the opportunity, give him the offensive coordinator like he did, keep adding pass catchers around him with like Mike Gesicki, protect him on the offensive line, and see what he can do. And then if it's still not the answer in a year or 2 from now, you at least know. But I would hate to move on from Mac Jones right now, pay Lamar Jackson $40 million a year, have him miss the last 6 weeks of the season, and have Mac Jones go get surrounded by someone great and give him some weapons and have him excel into a top 10 quarterback like I think he can be. If he fails, then he fails. But I don't want to trade him away too early, like I think they would be if they did right now.
So I do want to push back a little bit on what you said. I think that Lamar, I agree that if you put weapons around Mac Jones and you give him a good situation to have success, I think that's the smart thing to do financially, is keep Mac Jones on that rookie deal. You're paying him less, you put weapons around him, and you go from there. But what I think Lamar adds that Mac Jones doesn't is the lack of weapons. He can still produce in an offense, and he can be a top 5 quarterback with a terrible offense. He can be a transcending player, a guy who can backpack the offense with not a whole lot there. And what we've seen from the Ravens is they haven't surrounded him. Like you just said, he can throw the football, but their offense hasn't been super exciting. Can you imagine if Lamar was surrounded by weapons? How
Yeah.
good of a player he would be? He's a top 5 quarterback already with Mark Andrews and basically nobody else. I mean, they had nobody all year last year. Bateman was hurt. Their running backs were in and out. They basically had a 3 tight end offense and everything was on Lamar's back. There's no wonder he was getting hurt. So if Lamar could come in here, I trust that he's going to be able to carry the offense more than Mac Jones, because I don't believe that Belichick is going to do the proper job surrounding Mac with weapons. I just don't. We've seen it. He didn't do it in year 1. He didn't do it in year 2, and he hasn't done it in year 3 yet. Do they have some guys? Do they have some depth? Yes. But do they have a guy who is somebody that the defense is going to have to game plan for every week? No, they do not. I don't trust Belichick to go make a splashy move and surround Mac with weapons, because that's just not what he does. He doesn't believe in it. Why is that? I have no idea, but he does not believe in it. So in that situation, if you're not going to put weapons around the quarterback, I think you would have to go with a guy like Lamar, because I think his upside is so much higher with what you're letting the two quarterbacks work with. I just think Lamar can hold more weight on his own and still be a top 10, top 5 quarterback without having to surround him with weapons.
No, that's a fair point, 100%. You don't need a wide receiver one in a Lamar Jackson style offense. Now, is that the type of offense that's winning Super Bowls in the NFL? No, it's rarely won in playoff games in the NFL. So I'm saying you're gonna have to go from getting Mike Gesicki to going and getting a true blocking tight end. I mean, they had 3 tight ends. They had Patrick Ricard as a fullback. They had Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. Like, they have had the personnel, in my opinion, is totally different than what the Patriots have been building this offseason. So you'd almost have to scrap what you've been doing unless you really say, oh, he's a pocket passer, and I believe he can develop into that. And he can throw the rock. No one's saying that, but Lamar Jackson's at his best when he's running the ball and they have 8 guys in the box, and then he has favorable passing situations. So there's ways that I just don't think that Bill O'Brien wants to operate this offense. I don't think that he wants to operate in a Lamar Jackson style type of offense. I really don't. And I don't see the value of bringing Lamar Jackson in here if you're going to run the spread type of offense, because that's taking away his biggest threat. If you're having Lamar Jackson in here, you want to have 2 and 3 tight ends in the game at least 25, 30% of the time, running the ball with him, using his legs, and then playing the pass off of it. I don't know if that's what Bill O'Brien wants to do. Now, maybe if they can get him, that's what they will do, but I don't believe that is what Bill O'Brien wants to focus on in New England.
You think tomorrow Lamar Jackson has more success in the Ravens offense or the Patriots offense if the situations are exactly as is?
The Ravens.
Really?
I do. I think there's better pass catchers on the Patriots, but that offensive line's better. They're built more with the 3-headed monster they have in the backfield with a fullback. We don't have a fullback on our roster. So if you bring him,
I think Ramondre is better than any of their running backs. I think all our wide receivers, Bateman is a big play guy who can make some big plays. Mark Andrews is better than any of one of our pass catchers.
Yes.
Like he's a difference maker. But outside of him, I don't think the Ravens have anybody that can really be a true threat. You got Bateman, who's maybe, but I would say Bateman and Devontae Parker you can maybe compare a little bit. And then we got Mike Gesicki and Hunter Henry. I don't know if you can wash that a little bit with Mark Andrews. I don't know. I feel like, yes, that style that they have with the 3 different running backs and the fullbacks and the 3 tight ends. But I think if we were to trade for Lamar Jackson and you draft Darnell Washington in the 2nd round,
yeah, you have 3 tight ends right there.
You got 3 tight ends right there. And I think you can sign a fullback anywhere. I mean, they're not super expensive. So I don't know. I think you could transition this offense really quickly if you wanted to. I don't think it's realistic. I think I would be absolutely shocked if Bill Belichick traded for Lamar Jackson. I would be shocked. It just doesn't seem like what he would do, putting that much of an asset or putting that much money into one single asset for your football team. He doesn't even want to get a wide receiver 1, which is $18-20 million. I don't think he's going to go pay a quarterback 40-45, especially guaranteed with his injury history.
Yeah, I really don't think he is either. Hasn't shown it yet at premium positions in the NFL. Why would he switch it for a quarterback? I mean, especially one that's injury rattled, like you mentioned. So make sure you guys let us know down below what you guys think in the comments. If you think we should trade Mac or keep him, if you would like for New England to go after Lamar, and what you'd be willing to give up for him. And then make sure, of course, you guys like, subscribe, and comment down below so you can stay up to date and turn that notification bell on. So whenever we go live or upload a new clip, you guys can be here and talk with us, chat with us, and support us. So thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you later.